Nice. Good thing you did the intro. Rewind. Start again. You get a second chance. Do as if nothing happened. Nub. Nub.
Ah, damn, and there we are. So there's this thing that OBS does where if you swap accounts, it actually just says, no, your microphone is not allowed to be here. Anyways, let's redo this. Welcome back, everybody. Sector 1 Proving Grounds, the second week and the fourth day, I believe, of these Proving Grounds. Today, Team Mountain and Team Ocean, I think it is. Um, my name is Boba Jack. On my left, Boba Joe, the one and only Hype Shoutcasting on the desk. We are ready to get in as the lobby is being made. Joe, what are we expecting today?
I'm expecting some fun games. We started out with 6 teams. 4 left. 10 players didn't make it to the second stage. So we're getting to the best of the best of the best. Keep going. And which means there is an extra bit of pressure for these players to show what they're worth. Because of course, today and tomorrow there will be 3 games. And on Thursday, only 10 players will be left who will be playing the finals, you could say, of these proving grounds. And everyone wants to be there. Everyone wants to keep going and show more of themselves, of their individual, but also, of course, team skill. And yeah, a lot on the line for these guys wanting to make a part of this Sector 1 Academy team. And we're seeing some people who already had massive games last week. For example, Clonky will be playing for Team Mountain here, who did a crazy Yone game where he just destroyed everyone. I have a feeling that they are gonna ban that man, Yone. He's not gonna play today, I feel.
Yeah, he had a pretty sick, insane showing last week on his Yone. Of course, the champion he likes to play the most, giving him a lot of, quite a big edge in a lot of matchups just because of the fact that he knows basically every matchup with that champion and knows how to play it to his advantage. Last week he played it into a Victor and completely annihilated him in lane. So that's something that's to be looked forward to. Maybe again, if they do let it go through, chances are they won't give it to him this time. However, last time they gave it to him, why not this time? Right?
But of course, last time Jackie set him up for the big game that he played. Now he has Lapis in his team. We'll see if he can do the same, if he can have the same impact to get his team ahead. They have some big performers also like Menega Poots, who definitely gets some hype in the chat from from the boys. So a lot of pressure on him. We could see Swain or something like that. It's off AD carry, but not sure if gonna bring it. Anyway, I hear that we're gonna go right into the champ select.
We are in the first champion select of the evening. Woohoo! Let's go. Camille gets taken out. Gets taken away from Düsseldorf. Of course, something he likes to play quite a lot of. I believe he played it last week as well, and in a pretty decent manner. So I understand the ban completely, as it is going to be taken away from him. Misfortune taken away from Meneke Putz. Is that because he likes to play it, or because Gale Force Misfortune is broken?
Well, there are definitely some weird interactions between Misfortunes and the new items, so better safe than sorry getting that one out. Of course, the Jhin is still open, who is also a good pick into it, and especially Trash got banned, Leona is still open, and as we know anything from Meloka and Funny's play is that they both love Trash Leona, Trash being a counter for Leona because he can fling away Leona when goes in for the Zenith bait, which means that Leona kind of being a priority pick here, if not banned. So you can definitely look on that support pick to come in through in this first pick rotation. Might even be the first pick.
Wow, they just insta-lock Akali which of course is
Ballsy.
ballsy. Not only is it ballsy, but it's also flexible to top and mid lane. Jhin does get picked up. Chances are Samira is gonna be taken for Meneke Boots as Misfortune and Swain both banned away. Jhin, of course, picked up by red side here. So it could very well be possible that Meneke decides to go for the Samira. He has a very high mastery on Vayne as well. So that's possible. And they do take away Leona from Meloko, of course, picking the bottom lane rather soon. Jhin, Leona. Strong combination. Now that Thresh has been taken away, Meloko has Seraphine up his sleeve. I kind of want to see it because I haven't yet. So I'm praying as Kai'Sa does get locked in for Meneke Boots.
I'm kind of scared for that Seraphine pick because she is rather squishy. Leona, a lot of tools to get to that target. I'd rather have something that can help Kai'Sa survive this Leona engage because they have so much CC. A Tahm Kench wouldn't be so bad at this case because if they stun Kai'Sa, he can just numb her out. It's not a bad pick. They are hovering the Annie, not sure. Could be a placeholder.
Yes, it's
Well,
Alistar. And he's
there we go.
Alistar.
There we go. So the Alistar also does the same thing. Leona goes in, can push her away, or can even engage themselves. So they both put the engage options on their supports, which gives a little bit more room for those top laners. Electro played Akali last week in top lane. It was versus a Sion in the matchup, if I am not mistaken. We'll see if Dusseldrop has something else to counter this. And of course, the Yone wasn't banned, and it is taken by Flatline, so Clonky cannot abuse his pick later in the draft. The question is Flatline's Yone on par with Clonky's Yone?
I'm assuming Flatline's Yone might be a little bit worse than Clonky's. And of course, because Clonky plays Yone the amount that he does, he's gonna know what the champion does, what the limits are, and of course what to play against it. He knows the strengths, he knows the weaknesses, and he knows what to do against Yone if he faces it. So I'm assuming he's gonna know perfectly what to do against it. I myself have hardly played it or against it, so not 100% sure. I'm a little bit interested about the Alistar Kai'Sa lane here. A very balls to the walls lane, but Jhin Leona kind of does the same, so they're just gonna clash heads, I assume, in the bottom lane.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Jhin kind of a dominant laner, especially in the early game. So much bully potential, and with the Alistar you have a basic amount of sustain, of course, with that passive. But it's not like a healer, a Nami, that can really help you through all that poke. So if Team Ocean doesn't play the all-in constantly and just pokes, they're gonna win out that lane, definitely. So gotta be careful. Will the Fiddlesticks getting picked here for Fout de Makelaar? And the question is still, what's Clonky gonna play against the Yone? He played with Yone against Victor. Will he pick it in Yone now? Because Victor also one of his champions, and he might be able to show us how that matchup can go differently.
Meneke hovering over... I even forgot the name.
Rel?
Yes, that's the one.
I think Rel is banned this proving grounds. No?
Yeah. Could be. I honestly don't know. Chances are she is. Only just recently has been released, as they do go for a Sejuani in the jungle and Kled in top lane. Meaning that if Kled does go for top lane, or Sion, of course, possibly as well, something Electro is rather comfortable on, that does mean that they have the melee top laner and melee mid laners combined with Sejuani, of course, to try and shut down the Yone at this point. If she does manage to sit on the mid lane to help Clonky beat his good friend Yone, as Mordekaiser is going to be picked up here against the Sion. Of course, Mordekaiser Sion eventually should be Mordekaiser's favorite.
That is such a good pick against their squad, because they have not only the Sion but also the Sejuani, two really tanky units. And yeah, you basically can't really gank the top lane at this point, because he will just Shrek you both, can ult one, steal the stats from that unit, become so incredibly tanky, especially with the Riftmaker item, which gives so much Omnivamp currently. Dusseldrop has all the tools to carry this game at this point with that pick. We'll see how he does it. Don't think top lane will be much of a focus for Lapis at this point, because yeah, what can you do after 6 when that Mordekaiser can just turn it around into a 1v1 and beat every tank in the game. So that's gonna be a hard lane for Electro. But of course he has the Scion, he has the ability to make plays in other lanes with that charge, and if I were him, I would especially try to play on those other lanes. Just charge in with your ult, get some kills there, teleport back, take the wave, and really pressure that map. Something the Mordekaiser has a little bit more struggles in.
And if Scion can manage to use his, what's it called, Unstoppable Onslaught, I believe, his ultimate, his big charge, to also help the Sejuani keep on camping the mid lane, then the Yone is going to have a pretty difficult time. Doesn't really have great escapes, aside from his ult. He doesn't really have anything to get away. If he does stack the third Q, of course, he has a small dash. A lot of low elo players will probably use the E to try and get out. Eventually,
yourself?
You will bamboozle yourself eventually to get out of that one. Meaning that, yeah, you'll always just respawn back where you started. So that's not really an escape. So I think that's basically what they're gonna try and do here to keep on going for the Yone combine the Sejuani, the Scion, and the Akali mid. And just let Alistar Kai'Sa kind of do their thing, scale, let the Kai'Sa scale, and get a couple items into later on into the game, and then take it from there.
Yone, it is a champion that you want to go aggressive on. If he can go forward, if he can use that E aggressively, he really can bully out the lane, as we saw last week against the Victor. But if he can't, and if he has to play safe, he doesn't have much options to defend himself. So you do have a lot of kill pressure on him at this point, because you have the Sejuani that can do the lockdown on mid, and Akali with just so much assassination potential. So if Lapis Shortcuts wants to play this right, he can just shut down that mid lane. Because Fiddlesticks, I want to say not the biggest ganker until his Crowstorm is up. But of course, after the changes, he has that fear potential on every skill. So we'll have to see how a great player like Wouter Makelaar can utilize this champion. And if he can effectively influence the map pre-6. Because we do not really have early junglers. We don't see a Lee, Rek'Sai, Kha'Zix, anything like that. But we do have Sejuani, Fiddlesticks. So are there even gonna be any big plays in the early game? What do we expect here?
I mean, of course, Sejuani, once again, she has the stun right on her E, which of course she stacks herself with her auto attacks and her W. But also Scion and Akali can help her stack her stun, which she doesn't really need level 6 or anything for. She just needs level 3. Can dash in with her Q, get an auto attack, W, and another auto attack from the laner, and the stun's there already. So they can really easily get a stun off early on in the game. They don't really need any big ultimates, which is going to help them burn a flash, for example, on Yone, burn the flash on Mordekaiser. And that's going to make the lanes for Akali and Scion both a lot easier. So there are possibilities there. On the other side, Fiddlesticks, in my opinion, a little bit more difficult, as he does not have a gap closer. Of course, he can go for the bottom lane, where there's a lot of lockdown with the Leona Jhin, and then Fiddlesticks can just run up to the stun target, fear them, and continue the CC and just take it from there and take down the Kai'Sa or even the Alistar before 6.
Yeah, it's gonna be a scary game, because on the one side you have Team Mountain, who is a tanky comp, so it really fits their name as well. They just picked 3 tanks, Sejuani, the Scion, the Alistar, to be that beefy frontline. On the other side you have Team Ocean, who has almost only damage. Just Funnysplee gonna be the front line for them all with the Leona, with the engage. The rest, they have so much tools to make a threat for the enemy. It's so hard to build against them as well, because they do have 2 AP threats and 2 AD threats. So what are you gonna optimize? Scion basically has to go for the MR first. Sejuani can kind of choose, probably gonna go for some health early on, but it's fairly hard for them to do a good itemization against that squad. What is the optimal item build? Because who is gonna be fed? Who is gonna go 5-0 in the first 20 minutes, for example? If you're against a Mordekaiser and you have to build MR, if Yone gets fed, yeah, you're not gonna be as tanky as you would want to be after that laning phase. So it's gonna be very difficult for them to itemize against that comp Team Ocean has. But of course, mid game, if they do not have that lead on any of their damage dealers, they're really gonna struggle with that front line from Team Mountain, and that's where they can definitely take their lead in this game.
Yeah, the front line on Team Mountain with the Sion, with the Alistar, of course. Imagine them getting, and the Sejuani, sorry, imagine them getting a Mountain Soul. Team Mountain with 3 tanks and Mountain Soul is gonna be...
The dream.
The dream is alive. The dream is alive. It's gonna be pretty hard to take them down. And of course, not only are they very tanky, but they've got so much CC on their frontliners. Alistar has the headbutt, the stun, the knockup. Sejuani has a stun, slow, ultimate to freeze someone in place. And then of course Sion with his decimating smash, with the unstoppable onslaught. There's so much CC, so it's gonna be really difficult for them to actually get past the front line. Of course, you do have the Yone, who can just ult through them. You do have Fiddlesticks, who can just ult past them. So there are possibilities. Mountain's gonna have to be careful that they keep vision on the sides of the lanes where they're at, so they don't just get jumped by a Fiddlesticks ult 5-man. Done.
That's the thing. Vision will be key. It's something that you can say about every jungler, but against Fiddlesticks is so much more important, because if he can get a good ult off, you just automatically lose a team fight every time. A fat Fiddlesticks is so hard to play against, because you basically have to face check every brush to get vision, and if he stands there, you're dead every time again. So it's very hard to play. He is playing, as well as the Jhin, with the Dark Harvest, so they are definitely planning to bring some people low this game, getting those stacks up. And yeah, as you said, there's a lot of AoE damage from this Ocean squad. You have the Mordekaiser, who just uses passive around them, the Fiddlesticks with his ult, and then Yone, yeah, basically every skill hits multiple people that this guy has. So if they're grouped up, could be quite heavy to win those fights.
Could be very heavy to win those fights, as we are starting to load up into the Rift. Almost gonna be there, very close to starting this first game between Team Mountain, Team Ocean. Hype in the chat. Let's get this game going, as we are still waiting a little bit longer for them to actually load into the game. We're putting money on these guys, Joe. Well, let's imagine we are. We're not actually, but let's imagine we are. Who's your money going to?
Who do I put my money on? I like the Yone, but I kind of want to see how Clunky does against him. If he is the real Yone master, if he can outplay him with his skills. Can't really put money on any squad, but I just hope to see what do you do against the Yone. That's what I hope to see this game from Clunky.
Both teams gonna set up a big wall of China here, not going too aggressive, as the ward from Sejuani last second comes through, and gonna pick up a little sweeping lens for herself. Early game, no crazy shenanigans. Both teams not really having a strong invade potential. Of course, you don't really want to invade with a Fiddlesticks. You don't really want to do the same with an Akali, maybe. So they just decide on both sides to not really go for anything crazy here, as we are gonna start up this first game between Mountain and Ocean. It could be a Mountain Soul, because the first Drake is Ocean Soul, so Team Mountain actually already has an advantage.
Yeah, but Team Ocean has to get the first Drake. It's the name buff. You have to get that name
That's
buff
true.
in these games. So
Mountain has to give it away as well.
If Mountain takes that first Drake, it's a very bad omen for Team Ocean here. Meanwhile, we see Fautomakla running the surprise Fiddlestick skin, and every time I see that skin, I get a little bit sad, because before the rework, it had the most amazing sound ever, sort of when he would use the drain on the minions, and I think that's gone now. So yeah, definitely some RIP in the chat for this Fiddlestick skin that they reworked. Good old sounds, not here anymore, and Clunky already trying to be dominant in this lane. hitting that level 2 first and spamming those knives in front of him to push that wave into the turret.
Yeah, he's trying to outpoke the Yone from the bat, from the get-go, to poke him out of lane, as Flatline does reach the level 2 mark himself. I was gonna say Clonky because I just see Yone and I assume it's Clonky playing him, but it's the other way around, of course. Also, both junglers starting on opposite sides of the map, as we do maybe see a little bit of shenanigans going down here in the top lane. Electro versus Düsseldorf, a little bit of a battle, which none of them really wins or loses. Ooh, Clonky.
So early trades, of course. Minions helping out a lot if you have to tank those. Hard to do a really big trade, those levels. Well, both hitting level 3 and yeah, top and mid lane, both trading very heavily. So once there is a jungler who is gonna meddle in those lanes, it's gonna be easy to take them down when they're low HP. We see Lapis just hovering here, trying to see if there would be any pressure, but now Clonky getting some damage.
Kali was going really low, as both Düssel and
Ooh.
Electro also battling it out in the top lane. They both smacked each other into the ground at the same point. Fiddlesticks running to top lane, looking for a potential dive here onto Electro, who is going really
Lapis
low.
being ganked mid.
Looks like the mid lane. Oh wow.
They're both gonna strike.
Yone is in a lot of trouble as Fiddlesticks flashes over the wall. First blood, it's for
Wow.
Düsseldorf. Mordekaiser picking up one for himself. Thanks to the flash gank there, as Flatline is able to get out of the pressure he was about to receive anyways in the mid lane.
And that's what I said. Both laners are getting low. It's gonna be easier and easier for those junglers to make a play, and Fautomakala is the guy that strikes first, getting the first blood on top lane on the Mordekaiser, who, as we said, can be such a big threat for this tanky team comp of Team Mountain. So him getting the first blood is super valuable for them. Well, Fautomakala did use his flash, so we'll have a little bit less potential for ganks in the upcoming minutes, of course, until he is level 6. And yeah, still impressive getting that first blood kill with the Fiddlesticks so early in the game. Very well played by him.
And the fact that Yone actually got out, there was 4 people around his lane, and some sort of spidey sense told him to get out of there. Of course, communication should always be there, telling him to back off, as bottom lane was missing here. Sion giving up first blood. He's still up in farm a little bit. Of course, Mordekaiser is going to be able to catch that up with this wave. I mean, is it really that bad for him? Because is he that behind at this point? Or is he going to be able to just even it out eventually?
Well, the thing is, I'm gonna hold it, because Flatline in trouble. He is gonna come back, but there's the Fiddle.
Oh, Fiddle is there. He actually flashed away, ignited onto the Akali as well to get out of that one. And now, oh no, Clonky Krager is in a lot of trouble. But there is the Leona, does get the exhaust down.
The TP as well.
It's not going to be enough as he cleanses the exhaust. The dash from Sejuani is going to come in. Flash from Funny to get out of that one. But Nilan, look at him. He's going to free hit onto the Kaiser, picking up one. Then eventually Akali does pick up one. They pick up the second one as well. Lapis picking that one up for himself as Flatline goes down to the pig woman. Well, here's a bear lady.
Exactly. Big woman, bear lady.
Yeah, you know, it's all the same thing. But of course, Jin picking up a kill for himself and Kaiser falling there. So that's gonna be that could be a pretty interesting turn of events in the bottom lane.
And during that team fight, Düsseldorf tried to TP to the fight, but Electro managed to stop his teleport. Now he might be in trouble. Hard fight to win, of course, against a Mordekaiser. Yeah, that's the thing. And you said, is he so behind? Is it so bad to give that first blood to the Mordekaiser? This is a lane that Mordekaiser will take over anyway at some point, and the only point in this matchup that you can win is that early game where he doesn't have the Omnivamp yet. Now he bought that first component of the Riftmaker, and yeah, there's no way you can trade with him now, because he's just gonna heal everything back up and gonna do that extra damage. So this lane is very much over for Electro, unless they get some great ganks from Lapis, but it's not really the lane for you to focus because he can just turn it in a 1v1. So Lapis really has to get someone else ahead, preferably Clonky, or maybe Manneke Puts in the bot lane because they have that CC combination there. But the top lane will be weak side for Electro for a long time.
Clonky tried to go hard there on Flatline. He's not able to dash over the
Well
wall.
played.
He might be in trouble here. He doesn't have flash, doesn't have ignite. He's gonna pop back to his shadow here. As Lapis does not manage to get the final. He does flash for the final auto attack. Gets the stun down. Clonky picking up one for himself. 2, 0, and 1 Akali. Opposed to the 0, 2, and 1 Flatline's Yone. So at this point, it looks like Clonky knows how to play Yone and how to play against Yone.
And it was good from Clonky because I'm not sure if he got hit by the ultimate on purpose, but you only travel as far as your ultimate hits an enemy unit with Yone. So hit Clonky, stops there, takes him along a little bit, and yeah, means he gets killed there by the gank from Lapis. 2-0 Akali, which is a really good start for them. They do need to compensate that for the top lane, going in favor of Dusseldorp. So only the bot lane is going fairly even at this point, except for of course that kill that Nilan was able to pick up in that trade. But you see they do have the pressure there constantly, which gave them that first Drake. They do have the name buff now with the Ocean Drake, so that is not really able to put that in money. So we might as well say that they're ahead of Team Mountain at the moment.
Yeah, the gold is dead even, but they do have the buff that is as well that is also the name of their team. So I mean that's a good thing for them. Next dragon on the Rift is going to be a mountain soul, so mountain buff. Sorry, not going to have a mountain soul. We're going to go for a cloud or infernal rift after this one. So if the prophecy, which is fair, of course, otherwise
else the Rift would be biased.
Else the Rift would be biased towards one or the other. So if the prophecy is true, then the first Drake goes to Team Ocean, the second Drake goes to Team Mountain, and they'll both then go for 3 of the other Drakes. So that could be quite interesting as Flatline looking for some damage here with his team. Clonky gonna be able to get out of that.
Oh, he's baiting.
He is baiting Sejuani. Ult goes wide. Flatline gonna go down really quickly. Gets burst so hard. Mordecai is there. Flash from Akali to get out of that one. Manneke Puts and his boys are on duty. Picking one up for himself. Gonna find the stun eventually onto the from Sejuani onto Leona. Double kill for Kai'Sa. That is huge. Look how low Clonky is. He manages to survive that eventually. Gonna run over the ward here with his team. They're gonna win the fight and go for this Herald. Big win.
And that's some impressive team play by Team Mountain. The whole team is there. Everyone, bot lane, top lane, they're all grouping together for that play on the mid lane. While Flatline thought he was the one baiting Clonky, it was the other way around. They totally bamboozled them, and only Nilan was kind of late to the party. Tried to shove it out, but eventually Team Mountain getting ahead there, picking up the Herald as well, the bet of that fight, and now putting that gold lead almost 2k, and they have a tool to break open those turrets, because when you're playing a tank comp against a damage comp in the really late game, when all those damage dealers are stacked and can really Shrek you, then they have to watch out. But Flatline is the guy that is gonna be in trouble here.
He does use the ignite, does use the flash again. Clonky has neither of his summoners up at this point, so couldn't follow with the flash for the kill. Of course, gets the flash and the ignite out of Yone, so gonna have quite some kill pressure onto him at this point. And Fiddlesticks, he's been part of 2 kills thus far. Sejuani been part of 6, so can we call out a jungle diff?
Small jungle diff, however, of course, every team fight that they do currently, Mountain is picking up the win there. And Flatline currently losing the 1v1 matchup with Ignite against the teleport lane is very hard for them, because of course you have more map awareness with the teleport and you don't have to worry about your lane getting stomped and needing it to get back to the lane earlier. So that gives them global an advantage. And Electro still being able to get some CS in this matchup where Dusseldorp was of course 2-0. So just doing his best to do some damage control, and eventually he's gonna play for the team. He has that ultimate, he has that CC, he has a tankiness that he can frontline for the rest once the fights come. So that's his job. His job is not to kill this Mordekaiser in the lane, because that will just never happen. Just trying to get a little bit extra money in the pocket and not feed this Iron Menace too much.
The Iron Menace that is Mordekaiser. He should be able to take on this game for himself together with his Jhin at this point. Yone not really worth that much. And I mean, they could go for a team
there
fighting
it is.
comp as Fiddlesticks is gonna use his Crow Storm, finding Medic Boots. No, he
No.
flashes, he ults out flashes after the Kai'Sa to try and pick up the kill, but gets headbutted out of there as Lapis is now in a lot of trouble, gets ulted by the Mordekaiser. Clonky is there for his jungler, but will it be enough? Most likely not. He does flash over, it is gonna... Oh, the flash from Düsseldorf to try and catch him, but it's not gonna be enough as he does eventually maybe find the kill. Yone is there, might he find the kill? No, it's not gonna be enough. Yone trying to find the damage, not gonna find it eventually. Gonna go down himself as Lapis is back in this fight. Flash from Jhin gonna be enough to shut down the Akali. Now Fiddlesticks might be in trouble. You're gonna use his stopwatch there. Funny, trying to tank as much as he can for his team. The Drain is gonna give enough damage for a double kill for Jhin eventually on that one as Lapis once again going really low. Now Electro, he was part of the fight for his team. Is it gonna be enough, however, as Menika Boots joins the fight with that Kraken Slayer, with the stacks on his passive. He's gonna find one kill. Might he find the second one? Can he find it? It's gonna be enough! As a double kill for Menika Boots at this point. 4-1-1 for this Kai'Sa. That's scary. That's scary.
And guess who's getting that Mountain Drake?
It's Team Mountain!
The name buff coming in strong and well deserved, because the 3 tanks, they stall that fight so long. They give Menika Boots the time to join their squad and eventually win it, because it was looking very, very bad for them. Nilan was doing 3 damage all fight. Picking it up is 3-1, would have been 3-0 if he survived it. He has that Gale Force now, so it will be a little bit trickier to engage on him. He's able to juke quite a lot, good to maneuver out of that Sign ult as well. And yeah, it was looking very scary at a certain moment in that fight, when Clonky overstayed his welcome, because he and Lapis were both so low and got out, but they decided to keep that fight going, and eventually they get picked up. But yeah, it's Menika Boots who got some kills at the end of that skirmish, and it's now 4-1 with the Kraken Slayer, so definitely a scary Kai'Sa to deal with.
Pretty crazy. 4-1-1 Kai'Sa at this point. 10 farm up. Of course, the 3-1-0 Jhin is not to be laughed at. He's gonna be doing quite a lot of damage. Also something to be touched on maybe at this point. Jhin did go for a Gale Force. The Eclipse was not bought, of course. Eclipse nerfed. Apparently enough for
There's Fiddle.
Nilan to not go for it anymore, as Nilan is part of the final top lane that burst. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I don't think Düsseldorf expected that as well, because he was just going ham, thinking nothing could happen to him, and suddenly Clonky showing why he was 2-1-6 on Akali. Just yeah, decimating him there, stacking that Dark Seal as well. And turns out that the lane swap was in favor of Team Mountain here. Meanwhile, Akali moving back to the mid lane. Lapis hold that lane very well, and they're looking for a play on the bot lane. Not sure if they can do this against Meloko, who has of course this great build potential on this cow. And now Flatline might be in trouble himself.
Moo. Lapis gonna not hit the...
Oh, the CC.
Well, it doesn't really matter at all. The CC is more than enough, as Menika Boots is gonna dash in here for a couple extra kills for himself. Picks up one. Meloko gonna be the second killer of this fight. The stun onto Leona should be enough. They're gonna try and give this to Menika Boots. Another double kill for him, putting him on 6 kills total. How are they gonna deal with this frontline and the Kai'Sa behind them?
The Poets is gebakken, is what you could say in Dutch at this point. He is 6-1-2, going very hard, and they're hitting every skill shot in those fights, which of course results in a lot of kills. You can't, if you can't move, you can't win, and that's what this game is showing at the moment. They have a 5k gold lead on Team Ocean at this point. We have a Cloud Rift, so a lot of movement speed for these teams to rotate across the map. and ultimate cooldown, which is huge for almost every champ in this game, because you have the Fiddle ult, Sejuani ult, who is such game breaking for these fights. So we definitely want to go for that one. But at the moment, not really the same Yone that we saw last week.
No, 0-5 and 2, a lot different than Clonky's Yone last week. Of course, as we said in the beginning, he knows Yone inside and out, knows how to play with Yone, how to play against. Clearly calling the Akali pick early there. As imagine though that the Yone would not have been picked up by Flatline. Would they have gone for an Akali top and a Yone mid lane? Or would they? Do you think they've always wanted to go for Akali? And was it just a bait?
Oh, I think it's just a good flex for them. Electro plays it as well. They have options with it. They're comfortable, and yeah, it turns out great for them against this Yone. They knew if it was open that the team of Team Ocean had to react on it, because you don't want to risk having the same fate as the game last week. So they might even have baited them into it, you could say. As well as with Leona, because they knew if they ban Thresh and leave her open, she's gonna get picked, and maybe they knew Meloko's Alistar pretty fine with that matchup, has a lot of peel as well against that Fiddle, as you saw earlier, just pushing him away from Menakaput, saving his life. So Meloko doing a great job to keep his carry alive and nice and fed.
And Akali once again gonna go really hard on Flatline, juking the
Oh,
ultimate
back.
there. He
No.
goes all the way back to where he started. Gonna have to use his flash once again to get out of that one, as Akali once again has neither of her summoners up, but burns the flash from Yone again. That's gonna be a free Drake for Team Mountain.
Yeah, if you see the damage that Clonky could do to Dusseldorp, then you know what he can do to Flatline. Definitely gotta watch out for that execution damage from Clonky. They're able to pick up their second Drake. Very wise of the team of Team Ocean to not contest that. You really can't win it at this point. Fautomakala has to get a great ult off, but even then, he doesn't have the Zhonya. He's gonna die instantly if they are not able to layer their own CC on these targets. And with this Herald, might be able to get a little bit more gold in their pocket. However, the deficit is still there. And yeah, Team Mountain clearing out these wards well, putting up the vision so they do not get surprised by these fiddlesticks.
A 4k gold lead, 4.5k gold lead for Team Mountain at this point. The only thing that Team Ocean can play around here is to stall it out a bit longer, get a couple more items on the Fiddlesticks and the Yone, and then actually try to fully combo the enemy team. The problem with that is there's this huge front line called Sion, Sejuani, and Alistar, who are just gonna not care at all about the dive.
At the moment in the 1v1, Dusseldorp will be able to beat every one of these tanks. But as you've seen, he doesn't beat Clonky, so he has to watch out for that one in the fights, because if he comes out, he might as well get popped instantly. But they do still have good picks. I mean, the Mordekaiser is so valuable. He just needs to keep farming, get those items up, become this unkillable monster at some point, because he does have the room to build some MR as well, because you're playing against Kai'Sa, against Akali, against Sejuani, Alistar, they all have this AP threat. So a Spirit Visage is definitely not a bad item either, if you want to be more of this unkillable frontline. But if he goes for damage, it's a little bit risky for him, because Clonky can kill him at this state. He's gonna go for Zhonya, which will help him a little bit, but not sure if it will help him a lot versus this Akali at the moment.
They do start clearing out the wards around Baron Buff, making it a lot more difficult for Red side to Team Ocean to actually know what they're doing, where they're at in and around the river. As Flatline once again gonna go really hard onto Clonky. Is he gonna find the damage? Look at it! It's going so hard. The ignite is not gonna be enough, but he actually wins that trade so hard. As well,
But now
Menakaput does find him with the Void Seeker, and the follow-up is more than enough to eventually pick up the kill. Imagine the Yone though being ahead. Could have gone either way then.
Yeah, you do see the power of that champion when he hits everything that he needs to hit close to his tower. Of course, Clonky not being able to retaliate much there. Maybe even overstepped a little bit, you could say. But eventually turns out great for Team Mountain again. 0-6 Yone. Of course, when he's 0 and 10, Yone and Yasuo, they do hit that juicy power spike that you see in solo queue so often. So maybe he's just speed running for that one. We'll have to see if he can reach it. But on a more serious note, everyone is starting to get really fat on his Mountain squad. Only Electro, who has had the lane against this Mordekaiser the whole time, is a little bit behind, but not drastically. He will still be able to do his job. But yeah, Team Ocean definitely needs a good pick, a good ult to get back into this game.
They are going to start the Baron. They might 2 or 3 man this Baron, as Kaiser is going to do so much damage to the big purple guy on the Rift here. They do eventually get spotted by the Vision. Here, Ward comes down in the pit as well, so they're going to decide to back off. And Mordekaiser was ahead, still is, especially in farm, of course, but he clearly is not able to bully the Sion as hard as you might hope, as the Sion, of course, does have Sunfire Aegis at this point. Next Dragon gonna be coming up in 40 seconds, and it looks like Mountain is gonna look to set up the Vision around this Cloud Drake.
Thing you say, Electro's farm isn't that bad. That's a positive thing about the Sion. He just has so much built-in wave clear that it's really hard to push against him in the lane. Dusseldorp definitely has an edge on him in the 1v1s, but he can just ignore him. Decimating smash that wave, pop the Soul Furnace, and yeah, he can start again. Doesn't really has to risk a lot. Just make sure that he doesn't overstay, but normally Dusseldorp cannot kill him in one rotation in his ult. So should not be able to die there by the hands of Dusseldorp alone. Meanwhile, they are gonna give up that third Drake to the team of Team Mountain. Which means that in 5 minutes they will be forced to fight for the next one, or the soul will be theirs. And of course that movement speed with the engage that they already have is gonna be very dangerous, because they're basically gonna run them off the map.
Yeah, the extra movement speed for blue side is gonna be insane. For them to, as you said, just run them off the map. They can just continue to chase, continue to run after Team Ocean here. If they do manage to pick up the soul. On top of that, of course, the ultimate cooldown is going to help them to not only run faster, but just run more, as they do look for a pick to Leona. Flashing away there, and they're in a really good spot here.
They're really fighting the Vision here, putting everything down around that Baron. They need to face check that. And Funnysplee already wasting his flash, of course, as support. You are kind of the sacrificial lamb that has to face check these brushes to put a ward down. You're the first to go if they engage. And the pinks here, not really able to clean those. Maybe Yone can do something with that Spirit Walk. However, Flatline gotta be careful here.
Oh, he has to use his flash, but Kaiser gonna ult behind the Yone, after the Yone, to find the kill. But it's gonna be Yone who's gonna get out of there with his ultimate eventually. And now they are pinging onto the Baron. They did get a couple of summoners and ultimates out of that fight. Of course, they're gonna have to watch out for Fiddlesticks, who now does have the Zhonya's on top of the Night Harvester. So if he does get a good ult in this pit, they might be able to find something.
Fate Shield has been used, but of course doing an objective like this against the Fiddlesticks is very scary. However, Clonky holding it down here, make sure that they cannot go in here. Nilan gotta be careful, because Clonky very fat, can do an execution here, and there it goes. Funny, very low.
Great Zhonya's there by Clonky to get out of that little bit of a pickle, as Flatline is between a rock and a hard place. No flash, no ult. Is gonna do so much damage though. Eventually does go down by the hand of Menekaput. Eventually also found the Maklar picking one up. Dusseldorp using his ultimate on the Sejuani, picking one up for himself. There's the ultimate. The Zhonya for Mordekaiser isn't going to be enough. The shields come through. They're not going to be able to kill him. Sion not finding the damage to pick up Mordekaiser, as it's a triple kill here for Mordekaiser. After the Baron play from Team Mountain, it all goes south for them.
What I love about this play from Team Mountain is that they do make a definite call. You see the Baron is at 2k HP, and they all say, we peel off and we take the fight. We go over the wall, we go in. They all do it, they make the same call, but of course they lose the fight here because they had to tank it so long. Dusseldorp TPs in, they get picked off, and yeah, that is not how you want to win the fight, because Clonky was already low, had to use so much in a 1v3 there, and it was still close. If Team Ocean didn't play it as well as they did, they would have lost it here. the Baron would be gone, the team fight would be over. So very good of them to step it up here, get some kills under the belt, and Nilan taking 4-2 here. Has the Collector as well, so he will be able to do some damage in these team fights. But the question is this enough to get back in the game? Because there's still an almost 3k deficit in favor of Team Mountain, but definitely a good start for Team Ocean to give some resistance to this squad.
And at this point, Kaiser Minik puts on his champion, has the Kraken Slayer, has Runan's finished as well. BF Sword and QSS finished for him on top of the cleanse, so he's going to be really hard to be able to pin down. On top of the fact that, of course, he has his E to go invisible. Not sure if he's already at that point where he can actually go invisible, as Fautomakula does find Clonky Knagged in top lane. It should be enough here to find a kill, as, of course, Akali, never mind, is going to be Akali and dashes out from 0 to basically 5 miles away.
And he makes it look so easy. He's like, no, I'm not even close to dying. I'm just dashing out left, right, bye. He doesn't have to do anything. And in the last team fight, Medica Puts was shut down, and he still has 700 gold bounty on his head. So that does say something about how ahead he is on that Kai'Sa still. Definitely a point of attention for Team Ocean to make sure that he goes down in those fights and doesn't get the chance to free it, because he's gonna melt those targets so fast. They do have a lot of threats, but they're not as tanky as a squad of Team Mountain, which makes the work for Medica Puts a little bit easier. And as we say this, the last Drake has spawned. It's gonna be really fast because this Drake is going down. Oh my god.
The soul should be for Team Mountain here. It is indeed, as Funny is looking for an engage. It's going to be enough. 3-man decimating smash from Sion. This is a huge team fight, as both of them just press the R button at the same time. Dusseldorp in the middle of everyone, gonna find Clonky. Is it gonna be enough? Maybe yes, maybe no. Electro in the backline, gonna find a big no. The decimating smash gets cancelled, and it looks like another win for Team Ocean here, as they find another triple kill for Mordekaiser. It's gonna be an ace for them, and this should be Baron for them, or are they just gonna push mid lane here?
8-2 Dusseldorp on that Mordekaiser, just ulting Clonky out of that fight, not able to assassinate any of these key targets. He kills him and then he kills all the rest, and yeah, there's nothing they can do about it. They do not have the damage to deal with that squad of Team Ocean. If Clonky is taken out, Medica Puts has to do it all by himself, but as we stated before, Team Mountain isn't the only team that has CC. The team of Team Ocean has it as well. They can just stall that fight and Dusseldorp kills everyone. Okay, they picked up the Ocean Soul, but losing this fight and losing the Baron might be worse, because next time it's an Elder Drake. And will you be able to pick it up as well, or are you gonna lose the fight and lose that Drake?
Red team is going to be able to pick up the Baron here. It does go to Team Ocean as Akali finds the burst for Fiddlesticks. It's not going to be enough for Dusseldorp. Look how low Meloko goes. Not going to go down eventually. The cow lives to fight another day. Baron does go over to Team Ocean here, and it might be another momentum switch as Team Mountain is looking to push mid lane.
Trying to get that pick here with a good use of the Gale Force. Gets him out, almost has a flashback up. They do still have the Baron on 3 people of the Ocean squad, but if they get picked here, they will lose a lot of their base, so they gotta be careful.
Of course, they do have that Baron buff. The Baron buff minion is gonna be a lot more difficult to clear out for this team. They don't really have that much wave clear aside from maybe the Sion.
They're going in.
They are gonna go really deep here. They're gonna try and look for the end, as Clonky needs to use his Zhonya's here. The stun onto Medica Puts is gonna be enough to keep him out of the fight for just a second, as they do not find the damage on the other side of the fight. The ultimate from Fautomakula gonna come through. Nilan, wrong positioning, don't want to be there. He gets picked up, but does find the return kill. A double kill from Kai'Sa eventually turning this fight into a 3-4-4 in the advantage of Team Ocean.
Plays are being forced left, right, and center. They lose the Baron. They say, okay, we killed 2 people. We're going ham. We're going to break open this base. We're going to dive the 5v3, but they can't quite get it where they want to go. Clonky goes really low early on, and eventually Fauta Makela just flashes on his face to get that kill onto Clonky, which basically puts the game even. They do have that Ocean Soul, but Dusseldorp is such a big problem for them. There is no one that can 1v1 him. The kill that Clonky took earlier on him is not gonna happen anymore. Will not be able to shut down this level 17, Mordekaiser's highest level in the game. Not sure how they are going to manage this one, because he will be able to make it a 1v1 every time. Only Menekaputz has the QSS. Question is, would you buy it if you were Clonky at this point, the QSS? Because it's not an optimal item on Akali.
I mean, probably doesn't want to go for the QSS. There's no real anti-healing on the side of Team Mountain either, as I don't see an Executioners. Sorry, I do see an Executioners on Kai'Sa, but that is about it. Aside from maybe the Bramblevist from Sejuani, was maybe expecting a little bit more on their side. Morello for Akali could have been an option. Doesn't decide to go for it eventually, which may be a bit strange because she is getting ulted a lot by Mordekaiser, and then the anti-healing can come in handy.
Yeah, they do have some anti-healing on that Sejuani, on that Kai'Sa, but could have been more, definitely, if Electro and Clonky joined it as well. Of course, now the Morello not needed to be completed fully to get some anti-healing. The orb for 800 gold is enough. Choose not to go for it. He, of course, rather not fight Dusseldorp, but wants to go for Nilan or any other squishy targets to do the 100 to 0, and then of course you do not need any healing reduction
But
in that fight. But he is facing Dusseldorp here, of course. Normally should be able to get away from Dusseldorp quite easily. Kali is still very mobile.
Yeah, the 5-4 and 12 level 17 Akali not wanting to fight the 8-3 and 4 Mordekaiser at this point in a 1v1 situation, as Mordekaiser does of course steal the stats away with his ultimate, and he does have Omnivamp as well on top of his built-in healing, so not going to be easy to take down. 35 seconds for Elder Drake, both teams looking to go for this next objective.
The Elder is something that you can't give up that easily as the other Drakes. This time it's Team Ocean that's in position. They have all the vision here, but they're not grouped at the right time to defend it. So Team Mountain can just simply clear it out, and that's really a shame. If you have the lead there and you give it up simply because you're not there, that's sad, because now they're the ones that has to go in, that has to face check, and Fiddle does not have that element of surprise anymore that he so desperately needs to win these fights. But any moment now, trigger can be pulled. Oh, he is over the wall. Starts.
Oh, Mordekaiser went over the wall to look for the ult on Clonky Krijger, but Clonky goes over the wall himself, as now Dusseldorp in a world of hurt is gonna ult him, but someone does use it eventually onto Lapis Sejuani. He should be able to maybe stall this out. The flash, the Dusseldorp is gonna go down eventually. Menekaputz finding the kill, and this is really good for them at this point. Sion ult gonna come through. Nilan going really low, needs 1 or 2 more auto attacks on Kai'Sa. It is gonna be enough as Yone does use his ultimate onto 2-3 people, finds the burst. Kai'Sa does go down eventually. Now there's just frontliners here, and an Akali is there to pick up the kills for his team. Double kill gonna come through. Look at the healing though from Fiddlesticks. Of course they don't have any anti-healing though here, as the triple kill for Akali is gonna go down, and Dusseldorp does drop eventually in that fight, as the Elder Drake is going to be left alone here, and they're going to look to push mid lane down really hard.
Not sure if this was the play that they wanted, but they got it, and Clonky and Dusseldorp doing a little bit of a switcheroo over the wall.
That was a sick play by Clonky, but
both going 1 versus 4 there for a few seconds against the other team, and Clonky being able to escape there out of the Zhonya base and teleport back to finish off that fight. Meanwhile, of course, Dusseldorp falling in that fight, nearly not being able to finish Lapis there. Menekaput's doing so much damage, eventually goes into melee range with the Yone, and even though he was 1 in 9, still does a lot of damage, so you gotta respect it. However, has the 10 death spike now, so maybe he can do something.
Elder Drake.
Mountain definitely gonna go for this Elder. However, Team Ocean already running there. Can they take this objective?
Sion just gonna body block all these ultimate shots from Jin as the snipe comes through. Not gonna be able to hit onto anybody. Funny Splee in a lot of trouble here. Gonna be able to get picked up there by Kai'Sa. The damage, of course, with the Elder Drake execute, but yikes, that was a lot. It looks like this could be a game-ending moment for Team Mountain.
There is no front line left. Funny Splee is gone, and Dusseldorp, if he has to do it alone, it might be hard against this team that has the Elder Dragon buff. They do have the Super Minion as well to charge through the turrets. If they want to do something, Foute Makelaar will have to ult this here any moment now to defend this turret, else this might be the game.
Team Mountain looking to end the game right now, right here, as of course there is quite some wave clear on the other side with the Fiddlesticks a little bit, and of course Jin gonna be able to pick that up. They're not gonna be able to find the end. Baron has spawned and they are moving towards the pit at this very moment.
Playing the game very, very carefully, not gonna go for the greedy finish. Do not want to risk getting baited into the Fiddle ult here when Menekaput needs to step close to the turret. It's very easy to get picked up there. Gonna go for the Baron and then push those waves up because they do have the prio in the mid lane already. Of course, wasting a little bit of the time of their Elder buff, which is so huge if they want to win these team fights.
Yeah, they waste a little bit of time on the Elder, but they do pick up the Baron buff, and now they are going to be able to go for a Baron power play as mid inhibitor is down, but both top and bottom lane still have an open inhibitor turret, even an open outer turret, and of course the inhibitor's still gonna be up. Gonna look to push through mid lane though, it looks like, to maybe force a fight and end the game.
Bringing that wave along fully buffed, and they're gonna force Team Ocean to make a move here, because if they gonna stand there and watch, the minions just gonna take those turrets down, and it's so hard to engage on the squad because Menekaput on Kai'Sa so much kite back potential, but the trigger is being pulled by Team Mountain.
If he engaged from Sion, he's gonna go. Well, it was gonna go really low, but he doesn't at all. His flatline is gonna go low himself. Gonna go back to where he started. Gets picked up. It's a lot of damage with the Elder buff. Is gonna be enough to find a clean ace with the Baron up. They didn't even need the Baron minions. They just find a fight, a clean ace. They win the game. Done. Nexus down. Blow everything up. GG Team Mountain. And Team Ocean, a little bit too bad. They have the strong Mordekaiser, but they don't manage to find the kill eventually. The win, sorry, eventually.
The last seconds of the Elder were used to pick up this game. And yeah, it's Team Mountain that picks up this first win. It was a very close match. Don't forget that Team Ocean was able to get a few wins in these team fights. Dusseldorp stepping up his game very, very much here with the Mordekaiser. And if it wasn't for that last fight at the Dragon, where Clonky did a huge outplay and Dusseldorp popped over the wall going into the 1v4, they might have done it. They might have had the game. Because that's the point where it really shifted into favor of Team Mountain being able to pick up the Elder, pick up the Baron, and pick up the base. But definitely well played by both teams. Maybe TG Flatlines, Yone has some work to do there in this matchup against Clonky's Akali. Of course, you're playing against someone who knows Yone in and out, so perhaps another pick next game.
I assume they're not going to pick up the Yone for themselves again, and chances are they will ban it away for Clonky as well. So, don't think we're going to see another Yone in the next game. As the next game is going to start at 8:15, 15 minutes